Good morning. It is very early in the morning here. No one in my house is awake yet. I've got a little bit of time to work on this before I have to start work. Today is the start of week 2. So let's get started. Let me show you the pattern that we're working with. So I've got my square that we did from week 1. It should be joined and your chocolate border all the way around. For this week, I think it's a really fun week. Really simple once you're going to get the hang of it. Okay, so here we've got the measurements, just something to keep in mind for this panel as we're doing a lot of growing this week. It's growing in size quite a bit. So just want to keep this in mind kind of at this point as we're growing around. You got your center measured to size, close enough. We're just going to do our best. Make sure your stitch counts are correct. I think that might be the biggest challenge this week is it's more stitches to count along each side. Can't mess that up. All right, the stitches that you're working with this week. So basic ones, some that you know, chain, single, working in the back loop only. That's a new thing if you've never done that before. So I'll show you when I get to it as well, but every stitch with a V, the loop facing you is the front loop. The loop away from you is the back loop. And we can crochet into that back loop only, leaving a nice little bordered edge from the front loop. And sometimes when you do that, it tends to tug a little bit. It'll all even out. We're also a new stitch for this week, double crochet standard, double crochet 2 together. That's a new one. It is a decrease, a way to decrease stitch counts, but the pattern's pretty cool. She adds a chain to counterset that. Pretty cool. So I'll do that probably in a different video. I'll show you double crochet 2 together. Those are the stitches for this week. So the first part of this week really feels to me like we're just building the size of the blanket. Really nothing too difficult here. So we're going to start with oatmeal. And important note here, all rounds are worked on the RS right side of the work. So we're not turning our work at all this week. We're working almost in a round, but it's a square. But we're just going to keep going around and around the blanket. We'll fasten off when we meet ourselves back at the end. We're not ever flipping and turning the blanket this week. All right, so let's start with the first round using our color oatmeal. The pattern is telling us that we're going to join into the 2 chain space. So that's in the corner, every corner that you made, not this big granny square hole right there. She's talking about joining in this little chocolate 2 chain space that you made in the previous round. So we're going to join in there. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet into the, see this BLO, back loop only, of each of the next 69 stitches to the corner. Then we'll just keep repeating all the way around, slip stitch back into the first crochet. I'll show you how to do that. And here's what matters, your count for the end of this. When you're all the way done, counting everything you're doing in the corner, you should have 71 stitches along each side and 4 2 chain spaces. Okay, so first round oatmeal, going through that. Second round, pretty similar. You're just doing double crochets and you're not working into the back loop only. Third round, same thing. We're kind of just growing it. So these first 3 rounds are going to be a little time consuming. So give me a couple days to get through all this. Then I'll show you the fun stuff of the week is the pips. So these are all the different colors. It almost makes like a confetti pattern type thing. It's really cool. So we're doing this. These are the pips. So cute. So we'll work on that. But right now, you got to do the kind of boring oatmeal round. Okay, let's get started. I've got my oatmeal. I am sized up to a size 4 hook. I used a smaller one for my center oatmeal square. Then I went up for the granny squares to get it to size. And so I'm going to stick with this one. There's a lot of stitches this week, kind of repetitive, which I think is nice, soothing, can almost become trance-like. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to listen to your book or watch a show, whatever, while you do it. Okay, so I've got my yarn around my hand. Remember to join. We're going to pull the loop through. We're going to act like we never even cut that yarn. So just forget about that tail back there for now. And I pulled it through that 2 chain space with the chocolate. Okay, and then we're going to pull up a loop, pull through. So now we're in, and I'm going to kind of scoot this over a little bit, kind of get it to the side so I've got more room to work. And then it says we're going to chain one chain. But important note on the pattern says this doesn't count as a stitch today. Usually 1 chains don't. Okay, one trick I am going to do, and this helps me with weaving in my ends, is I'm going to actually crochet over this oatmeal tail a little bit as I go. You don't have to do that, but it does save you some time weaving in ends. So I'm kind of looking back here to make sure I grab it when I finish doing this corner. All right, so we've joined with the oatmeal into the chocolate 2 chain space. Let's make our corner now. So it's telling us 1 single crochet. So I'm going to go into this corner. I'm carrying my oatmeal behind the work to hide the chain for right now. yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, so that's a single crochet. So 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to mark that as my first stitch of the round. So it's kind of confusing when you have a chain 1 and a join. There's a lot going on, so let's mark our first stitch. There we go. Then I'm going to chain 1 and back into that same space because I'm making a corner. I'm going to go through, carrying my oatmeal behind. Yeah, baby. Okay, sorry. My daughter's homesick. Okay. I'm back in that 2 chain space to make the corner. I'm carrying my oatmeal behind just to help me with weaving in ends. Pull up a loop, pull through 2 because that was another single crochet. So we should have single crochet. Oh, I only did 1 chain. Look, I have to go back. Single crochet, 1 chain, 2 chains would be helpful. Single crochet. So now we have single crochet, 2 chain corner. We just made our corner, and single crochet. Awesome. Okay, now it says 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each of the next 69 stitches. Be really careful when you're doing a corner. This first stitch, I'm kind of pulling my corner pieces over right now. This first stitch loves to hide, and then you miss it, and you count all the way across, and you got to redo everything because you missed it, okay? And I can see I'm facing the right side of my work. I can see the P there. So to make sure I don't miss one, I go, okay, here's the base of a stitch. It's not a 7, it's a P. So I must have a stitch on this side somewhere. Got it? I found it right there. Okay, now remember we're going into 1 single crochet in the back loop only. So that's the front loop of my stitch. We don't want to go there. I want to go into the back loop only. Pull through a loop, single crochet. So that's kind of tugging. It's going to even out as I go. And it's hard to see on the chocolate, but you've got the front loop and the back loop. Okay, let's do another. And we're just going to get into a rhythm here. Pull through. Okay, there we go. It's in my back loop only. There's the front loop. Same thing with that one. And it's going to have a nice edge now. And it's tugging a little, but as I pull up the next loop, it's going to kind of even out. Okay, here's my back loop only. I'm trying to get it to where you can see it. Here it is, back one. Just single crochets, US single crochet. Back loop only. Now, be careful, you're not doing anything down here. Okay, it's this one. This is the front. This is the back. And the back's always facing away from you. Sometimes I do try to count these aloud as I go, since I have to do 69 of them. But I'm talking to the camera, so I've already lost count. What I'll do is I'll count once I get to my corner, make sure I have the right number of stitches. Because if I don't, I definitely have to go back. Now, if you made an error on the previous round, it's, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, it's too late to go back. You can fudge an extra stitch in there to get to your stitch count. It's totally okay. Or you can like skip a stitch. So if you're only 1 or 2 stitches off, this isn't like a crazy mosaic or, you know, visual pattern you're trying to make. Just fudge it. Just throw an extra stitch in there or skip a stitch. But, you know, you can be like strategic about how you do that. So let me know if you've got a count mistake, and I would give you my best non-professional advice on how to skip it. Unlike the Sirdar videos, I am actually making this in real time, the whole thing, all the way around. But like I said to you, in all my other videos I made for you, her videos are better than mine. The Spit Spot Stitches lady, she's incredible. Those videos are way better quality than these. But if the UK terms are super confusing to you, then I get it. I can make it hard to watch it. I've done enough of these now that I can just watch what she's doing with the stitches and try to tune out what they're saying, but it can be totally confusing. But hopefully you're reading along with the pattern as you're watching these videos, Sari, and you're learning, like feeling good about reading the pattern and learning the different things, because especially in the second part of week 2, where we're doing the pips, you'll need to be reading the pattern. All right, I'm gonna pause the video because you're probably tired of hearing me talk at this point, and I'm gonna keep going all the way around. I'll show you when I get to the corner. What I will do, I also need a coffee break. How cute is this cup? Look at this cup. How aesthetic is that? I love it. It's so delicious. So I'm gonna finish this, drink my coffee for a second, pause this, and then I'll let you meet me back at this corner and I'll show you how to do the next corner. All right, I'm approaching the corner here. Been doing US single crochets in the back loop only, all across this chocolate. You can see the nice edges starting to form now. I'm going to single crochet. Make sure you get your last stitch before you go into the corner. I can see there's the base of the stitch, there's a piece. I've got one more there. So my last back loop only, single crochet. And now we're doing our corner. So we're going to go into this corner chain 2 space, do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to do 1 chain, 2 chain, we're going to do another single crochet. So when you're counting the sides of your work, which I'm about to count this, that first single crochet counts as this first side. The chain doesn't count as anything, that's a chain space. Second single crochet counts as this side. I just want to count each side once. I don't want to have to do this twice. So I'm going to go ahead and just count and include those chain pieces because it says I should have 71 stitches along each side. So I'm going to actually start here. That first single crochet that I did is going to count for this side. So I'm not going to count it. I have no idea if this count is going to be right. I haven't counted this yet. And then you've got your chain 2 space right there, and then you've got your other single crochet. So the chain 2 space does not count as a stitch. You see this right here. This counts as my first stitch right here. It's so much easier to see the front and back loops in this color. This is the front loop. This is the back loop. Very cool. Okay, I'm going to count really fast all the way across, and I'm starting, like I said, not with this first stitch in the brown, but that second single crochet that was part of the corner. It's going to be my number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pause and count. So it worked out. This was 69.70, and then I only count the first single crochet before the chain as a stitch for this side. After the chain starts a new side, so I had 71. So from here to here, and between the chains, I had 71 stitches, which is excellent, and I'm ready to turn my work. Not turn this way, I should say rotate my work, because we're not turning our work this week. And I'm going to start on my next side. So I already did my single crochet, 2 chain, single crochet, all into the previous chocolate chain 2 space to make my corner. I'm going to very carefully not miss this first stitch of the round. It can be tricky and difficult to see, but I've got my post of a stitch here, and I know they go this way, so I know I've got one in here somewhere, and it's right there. I can see mine. So again, single crochets into the back loop only, going into the back loop. All right, that's basically it for this first round. I'm gonna pause this video and listen to my audiobook and keep working all the way around. I am going to count each row as I finish it. I prefer to do that as opposed to waiting till the very end. And like I said, I go ahead and count, including my corner single crochet, 2 chain, single crochet. I am known to throw an extra stitch into a corner, especially when I'm going really fast. So I do always double check myself. And those corner starts, that first stitch after the corner, can hide and be so sneaky. So definitely worth counting each round. All right, I'm going to keep going on this for round 1. And then I will meet you all the way back where we started and show you how you slip stitch and then continue on to round 2. Good luck. All right, I am approaching the corner where I started. I've been going across all the way around. I haven't turned, just rotated my work. And I'm approaching the corner here. So you've got your tail from the chocolate round, which can kind of be a pain to go around. So I'm going to look at these stitches really carefully here. So back loop only. This one. Okay, I've still got one more normal-ish looking stitch right there. And then I need to go into the back loop only of this stitch right here, but it's like funky, right? Because you have that join where you started right there. So I just kind of skip over it and ignore it. And I need to go into the back loop only because this was my last stitch. I need to go into the back loop only here. There. And now we need to join back into our first single crochet. Before I join, I'm going to count this side. Sometimes when I join, I'm confused on the count a little. It like messes me up. So I'm going to actually pause. I'm going to go back to this corner, and I'm going to make sure that I have my 71 stitches across. Again, I don't start counting until after that chain in the corner space. So let me count. So I can see my first one actually starts here because that post is in that corner space. I actually count by twos because it's like the width of my finger. So I go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. All right, so I had 69, 70. My last stitch that I did was 70, which is perfect because my very first stitch that I did on this round is actually number 71 for this side. I'm going to take out my stitch marker. I'm glad I put that so I can see exactly where I'm joining into the stitch where I'm taking out this stitch marker right now. So I would just put my hook through that first stitch, pull through 1, pull through 2. That's a slip stitch. Now, this is a little tricky. To start round 2, we have to get back into this chain space right here. But since we just slip stitched and joined, we're kind of 1 stitch too far over. So that's why you see it says in second round, you slip stitch to the corner chain 2 space. So you slip stitch to join. Now insert your hook into that oatmeal chain 2 space, yarn over, pull through, and keep pulling through. So now you've like scooted yourself back over into the chain space. Okay, now this round we're doing US double crochets. I'm really sorry that I'm sniffing so bad in this video. It is early and my allergy medicine has not kicked in yet. So I realized I'm probably sniffling this entire video, and that's probably really annoying. But I'm not gonna undo this work and re-record this, so I'm sorry for my sniffles. My seasonal allergies, I'm sorry. Okay. Second round, we're in the 2 chain space, which is awesome. Our 3 chain, it makes note in the pattern, our 3 chain is going to count as our first double crochet. So I always mark my first stitch. There's our 3 chain. So our corner space for this round is 2 double crochets, 2 chain, 2 double crochets. So that counts as 1, my 3 chain. Now working back into that 2 chain corner. So this is all going in the same stitch to make a corner. You can see in the pattern, it tells you to do it all in the same place. So we got double crochet 1, 2, then we got chain 1, chain 2. Again, we're going back into this corner, not into that stitch. Make sure it's in the corner. All in the same spot right now. 1 and 2. All right, now our star starts in our pattern, so we know we're going to be repeating here. Now we're working into the entire stitch. We're not doing back loop only anymore. We already did that, and we got that nice little chocolatey border. See that bump? That's nice. You did that. Now we're just working regular. 1 double crochet into each of the next 71 stitches to the corner. So double crochet is yarn over. Don't miss that first sneaky little stitch. Sometimes all these stitches you worked in the corner hide it, so you always kind of tug that over. Make sure you can see this first stitch. So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to insert into that hook. I'm actually going to pick up that tail from the last round. I'm going to pick up that tail, kind of crochet it in as I go. It's really simple with a double crochet. So I did again. Let's go to the next stitch, yarn over, insert, and I'm picking up my tail in the back end. I'm acting like it's part of the stitch. Double crochet. So now this is pretty simple. We're just double crocheting all the way across. So insert in those 2 loops and include that tail. Double crochet, yarn over, there's that tail. I'm holding the tail behind the work and just acting like it's part of the stitch. But the tail has to be behind the work. You can't crochet it in front of the worker. I always try to crochet in my tails as much as I possibly can to save myself, split that stitch, save myself some heartache when I'm weaving in all of these ends later. You can see now in the back, see that little, see that little tail? Started out over here, crocheted it. If it gets bumpy in between, you can just kind of give it a little tug to smooth it out, but then stretch your stitches back out so you don't make it crinkle because you pulled that tail too tight. And I carried a good amount of this tail. I have about this much left. I still have to weave it back in another direction, so I'm going to leave the rest. I crocheted in a pretty good amount there. Okay, I'm going to keep going. This round's pretty simple. We're just double crocheting till the end of time, all the way around. And for this row, we should have 75 stitches along each side. And so to get to 75, we do have to include these 2 double crochets that are in the corner after the chain 2. This first chain 3 and this double crochet are going to count for this side's stitches. So after each round, I'm going to count and make sure I've got 75 across, including half of my corner space. All right, so I'm almost back to where I started. I've been counting my 75 double crochets across every side, and now I'm here at the beginning corner. We need to slip stitch back into the beginning to close this round 2 off. So this was 71 double crochets. I'm going to do 72 in this stitch. 73 is kind of hard to see because that's our previous slip stitch, so it looks kind of wonky, but that is 73 in there. And I literally, because you see the slip knot from the previous round, it's like confusing. I literally just stick it in there. And it's tight, but I'm gonna make it work. Try it again. Okay, this is stitch number 73 for the side. And then we already did stitch 74 and 75 for the side because that was our 3 chain in the beginning and then our first double crochet, and there's our chain 2 for the corner. So we're done. We need to slip stitch. The pattern says slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. I find it difficult to slip stitch into the top of a chain, and I just think it looks neater if I actually go 1 stitch over. So I'm actually slip stitch into this next stitch. So that stitch right there, that's not the top of the chain 3. That's the top of the chain 3. But I'm going to cheat and pull through and pull through, and I'm going to slip stitch into that. I just think that it hides the chain a little better. I don't know if that's like technically correct, but I like the way that it looks. Okay, that is the end of round 2. The good news is that round 3 of this oatmeal border is the same exact thing, so I don't have to show you all over again. It's the same thing. Remember, we want to slip stitch, we gotta like move over a stitch, right? So slip stitch into that chain 2 space. So we're in our correct starting spot. Okay, I slip stitch into that. And now the pattern says 3 chain, 2, 3. And you see how in the pattern we are here, we're in the 3rd round. It says, this is our corner. We already did the 3 chain that counted as the first double crochet, but it says 1 double crochet, 2 chain, 2 double crochet. And then later down here, in parentheses, it says 2 double crochet, 2 chain. So anytime something's in parentheses in a pattern, that means it's all in the same stitch. It all goes together. And then of course the stars mean a repeat. Okay, so we're gonna do this all over again. I'm just gonna keep chugging along, and I'm gonna make sure I don't miss my little sneaky stitch by that corner that likes to hide. Don't miss it. And then make sure you're counting 75 double crochets on each side. Don't forget to count the 2 double crochets that you put into the corner. So everything after the chain space will count for this. All right, that's basically it for this oatmeal round. I'll keep going and doing the exact same thing I just did for the previous round to grow my blanket a little bit. I'll go ahead and get this video out to you so you can work on growing your blanket. And then once I'm done with this, as soon as I have time, I'll record myself doing the Pip Rounds, which is the fun confetti, all of the other colors, which is honestly the more complicated part you need the video for. I am working on it.